is Coach from Tiffin University. He's going to tell us about his program. First, we're going to talk a little bit about him, how he started track and field, and how he got involved in this wonderful sport. As I said before, track and field it's having a hard time right now. There's a lot of schools dropping their programs, and we want to make sure everyone knows about the schools that still have great programs and are looking for athletes and more athletes to, check them out. And Coach right now
Sure.
is going to tell us a little bit about yourself. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very humbled. I'm trying to do some Teddy Riley stuff here going here.
I know, right?
We have a beautiful, we have a
Are you
beautiful, we have
doing
a
this?
beautiful, yeah, we have a beautiful, it's not really showing up, but I can show you here. We have a beautiful
Oh, the
glass
dragon.
representing the glass state,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of glass is made here. But, yeah, I mean, one, I think, I fell into coaching. I
Mm-hmm.
really was trying to chase a mark,
No, no, no.
the
First, we're
B
going to talk
standard.
about you. When did
Oh,
you start?
me.
Yes.
I started my coaching in 2000. I started track and field when
No,
I was
not
12 years
coaching.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
started track when I was
teaching.
12. I started track when I was 12 years old, and
And how did you get
you know,
involved and why?
believe it or not, it was really kind of interesting where my sister ran, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, because football, my father, my uncle, my cousins all attempted to play football like a lot of guys do, and they flunked out of school or didn't do so well with their grades. So my mother put a real stringent requirement to have all A's and B's and perfect
Uh-huh.
conduct, and I'm a very loquacious person, so didn't really have that conduct grade. I had the regular grades. I was an AB student, but
Yeah.
what ended up happening was I ended up having to just go and wait, not play football, and then try and play or try and wrestle. And then in the midst of
Yeah.
wrestling, I broke my ankle when Hurricane Hugo happened. So
Mm-hmm.
didn't get to wrestle that long. And then I was like, well, I want to do another sport. So I went out to track and field and went over to the sand pit because I knew I wasn't the fastest runner out there. And I just took a liking to it. So I did the triple jump, long jump, and the hurdles at 12 years old and
Oh,
had a
wow.
great career. Yeah, had a great
You seem
career.
like you're
Was
very tall.
fortunate.
How tall are you? Because I know triple jumper is
Believe it or not,
tall.
I have a long torso. I'm not that. I'm 5'9". I was actually
That's not
five
bad.
six and yeah, I was 5'6" in high school. So at 5'6", about 152 pounds, I still was a 48-foot triple jumper
Oh,
and a
wow.
22-foot long jumper. So I was a little grasshopper, And then I grew 2 inches. I wish I could have grown 2 inches in college, but I grew 2 inches outside of college running
Yeah.
professionally.
Oh, wow.
And then eventually I was able to go, over 15 meters and about 720 in the long jump.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to run 10.6 in the 100. So, yeah, that was my story with track and field. It really was a great sport. It showed a lot of camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me to a lot of different places to where I probably wouldn't be able to go if I did a traditional sport like football or basketball, because they didn't really have a lot of travel teams during those days, back in
Oh.
those olden days.
So did you do track and field in college also, or did you
I
do
did.
football?
I was very fortunate enough to get a track scholarship. I'm
Oh.
just moving things a little bit better there. Was able to do track and field. Was able to get a scholarship academically and athletically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where at Western Carolina University, Colorway, the WCU, the other Purple and Gold School on the other side of the state of North Carolina, and was very fortunate enough and very blessed to be able to run for a
Someone
great coach
said
named
you.
a
Someone.
great a
Someone
great coach
said
named
you.
Danny
He
Williamson.
won a. I'm sorry. Someone said he won a race against Jesus back in the day. I got the footage.
It's one of that's one of my story old athletes. His name is and he actually was a really really great athlete of mine. There'll be a story in that later on that'll involve that guy. Um, but he's always been a great friend of mine, and that's the other thing that we'll touch on later on about the relationships that I've had with my athletes over the last 21 years.
Yeah. So you got a scholarship for college, and did you also get one for football, or was it a dual scholarship, or was it just track and field?
Just straight academics. So I was a nerd.
That's good.
So I had
We
a
need more
half
nerds.
academic. It is. I'm a nerd. I love it. Representing for the nerds. But I got a half academic scholarship, and then I had a half athletic scholarship.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay, so they knew you were coming for business, not just to play.
Pretty much
that's
so. Pretty
that's
much
another
so.
reason why the programs are getting cut, because we have to have the balance. We have to want to come for business too. We want to come for the brains and get our education. That's very important.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so after
Yeah.
college, what was your next step for to get to where you are now as a coach? Because I know you have a lot of different, opportunities along the way.
True. So in the midst of college, I had a full college experience. So it's great. I'm working in Division II right now because I'm real big on the full college experience. So I was able to join a NPHC fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. So go mob to all the Sigmas out there. And I was able to do a lot of theater, a lot of being an orientation leader, be a resident assistant. I was also able to be on the chancellor's committee to help them do some planning for a 5-year plan, another 5-year plan, capital campaign plan. And in the midst of my track, I got injured. I tore my hip flexor, and I ended up having to have surgery.
Yeah, as hip flexor.
Yeah, so that, yeah, it does. So, I mean, my right leg was my jumping leg. I hurdled on that leg. I long jump, triple jump on that leg. And so it got wore out, So after surgery, I kept hitting close to the B standard, the A standard at the time for USAs. And I still think to all those officials out there that was my officials when I had track meets, they were slip fouls.
1 second, I'm sorry. It's blurry over to you guys too? Can you see?
It's blurry?
They're telling us it's blurry.
It's blurry. Okay, let me.
Not you, at me.
Oh, okay.
This is the same location. Okay, Coach is clear. Maybe. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how to change it now because it's the same location.
That's not too bad. I mean, you still.
It might just be there.
Miss Antoinette is still good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It possibly could be. I was really very fortunate enough, and I'll try and make some adjustments here too.
No, you're fine. I was very fortunate. Perfect.
Am I good?
No, go back to where you were because you go back to where you were. There you go. That's perfect.
Better?
The background is hidden.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we get to just see the
good.
Perfect.
So, yeah, true. So in the midst of me trying to chase the mark, and I learned about graduate assistantships, never really thought I was going after a master's degree. And so when I went to graduate school, I chose a school that was up in Connecticut. I always wanted to go up north in the Northeast in New York City, hear about that. I was an old country boy from North Carolina. And so in the midst of going up there, I was able to pay for my school, get a meal plan because I love to eat, and pay my bills and experience a new area of the country is what a lot of our coaches taught us in this sport. It gives you a chance to really see some places you maybe would never go if you weren't involved in the sport. So was able to really have a great experience up there. And in the midst of getting my master's degree, I was able to get picked up by a professional club out of Boston.
So I was able to run. You went all the way to your master's. What did you get your minor, your before master's?
My undergraduate?
Your undergraduate.
Yeah, my undergraduate was, believe it or not, I'm going to take a deep breath on this. Whew. It was communications, public relations, with a minor in marketing and sales under a Bachelor of Science. So kind of did that little reverse.
That's really nice. Yeah, that's really nice.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
And so then I was able to kind of utilize that to get into graduate school. And what was unique about the graduate school I was able to get into, they had just started like a 5th-year program for like education. Yeah. Well, a lot of them do it now in these schools, where you go for 4 years, pick a subject area, and then your last year you do student teaching and you finish up your master's and take a certification test.
Okay.
Because I didn't go to that school originally, but it was the easiest program to get into, they let me in the program in July and said, well, you can basically design your own master's. So I actually got to design my own master's, and I was inspired once again by my sister, who was bipolar 1 and schizophrenic, so where I wanted to major in psychology. So I took every psychology course they had, and then I was able to understand some other courses that was called Gifted and Talented Multiple Intelligences and Adolescent Development, which were 3 areas that I really honed in on.
These are courses and classes that not a lot of people know about.
Well, good. I think it's normal. Run along with them. Well, I think
kids come in and they just
that is true.
Justice.
Yeah, it's true. And so, there's a lot of people that want to do, forensics and think they see CSI and stuff like that. So, I'll backtrack again. So,
athletes, criminal justice.
Yeah, because of the bodies and athleticism. So,
you went a different route, but go ahead.
Yeah, and Intel now looking at some things that are going on in the country today, as well as what I do on a day-to-day basis, studying psychology, studying the different versions of psychology, not just Freud, but learned about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and going on, and Skinner and some of those other names that for those people that are watching, you look up those three names, you get a good understanding of kind of how the mind works a little bit. And then studying multiple intelligences and getting a better understanding of ADD, ADHD, because really everybody is one of those two. It's just a matter of how you choose to handle it.
Of it.
Yeah, it really is. And so it also allows me now in the latter part of my career now, or in the prime of my career really, it allows me to address certain things and see certain things, and it makes me a better coach. Yep. Yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah. And that's why I'm in the sport I'm in. I'm in track and field. I don't have 30-minute quarters. or a 30-minute half. I have 19 events I can go and watch. Yeah. It's a great environment.
Yeah. Okay. So, and with all those skills, it helps you to be able to, that's why you have such long relationships with your athletes, because now you see them coming and, you know, this one may have this, you can read them before when they're coming at you, so you know how to deal with them. That's awesome.
Sure.
I am just tapping into that a little bit, just studying myself and being in high school or seeing the kids that I've helped in high school. And I'm like, oh crap, that's why they're acting this way, because they're this, they're that.
Exactly.
You have to know how to read the kids. That's good.
You really do.
So, so from there, now what's your travel schedule of getting to Tiffin? So, as I know,
so this is my.
You've been doing this for a while because you love the sport. So
everybody, get your passports ready. No, so fairly short. So went from Sacred Heart, which is in Fairfield, Connecticut, moved a little bit south, down into Lehigh Valley, South Bethlehem.
Yeah.
You know, Lehigh. Went to the Lehigh University. Went from Lehigh, went back up north, up to Eastern Pennsylvania, which is where the rivalry school is, which is the oldest rivalry in the country, besides the Army and Navy, which is Lafayette College on College Hill. Okay, so shout out to Lehigh Lafayette. Then went from there. Oh, shout out to Sacred Heart. Then I went from there down to Davidson College.
Yeah.
And so I was very fortunate to be able to see some of their run, meet a great basketball player. A lot of people will recognize the name Steph Curry. So I was able to meet Stephen Curry and really get to establish a pretty good relationship with him, talk to him from time to time.
Yeah.
And then was there for 4 years, went there and had a very unique experience of going and working at the HBCU, Virginia State University. So hail to the Trojans. Then from there, I went over and was able to have a dream come true, be able to go down to Virginia, a little bit more south now, Radford, and from Radford down to my alma mater was the dream come true. So actually I skipped Radford, so shout out to the Highlanders. Then I went down to Western Carolina, home of the Catamounts.
Yeah.
Was actually able to give back to my alma mater for everything they gave to me, and was able to win, one of my first conference championships at that school was the same conference championship that my college coach got, was a women's conference championship. So the SoCon, shout out to the SoCon. From there, went to Toledo, University of Toledo, so TOLEDO, go Rockets. And that was my first tour in Ohio. And then from there, had a chance to go to Indianapolis, go to Marian University, another Catholic school, NAIA, so shout out to the NAIA as well. And then from there, after a small 6-month sabbatical, was blessed that opportunity to come up and be a part of the Tiffin Dragon family.
Oh, wow. Okay. So at Tiffin, what are your what do you do exactly? I know you're the horizontal coach, which is long jump and all the ups and stuff. It's just for people who
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, we called this Boom Nation.
Okay.
Yeah, we call this Boom Nation. Boom Nation's up here.
I've never heard of Tiffin. I've never heard of
You're absolutely 100% correct. The first time I heard the name Tiffin was when they won their very first national championship indoors. And anybody that knows Division II knows there was two synonymous names or schools that would always battle for championships. That was Abilene Christian and St. Augustine College. Not the one in Florida, the one in Raleigh. Okay? But shout out to George Williams, by the way.
Come from. All the professionals come
That's right. Shout out to George Williams. Great coach. But Tiffin actually beat them. So when I called my high school coach, because he always kept me up to date on who was going to win, and we're like, oh, this team's loaded, whatever. They said, no, a new team won. And so they said, oh, Tiffin University, huh? Everybody's like, huh? So now, with every school, 80% of the schools that I've been able to coach at, most people haven't heard of them. right?
Yeah.
Because they're not really synonymous with track and field. They're not really synonymous with a main name. But since then,
They're
those
about
names have been made
academics
current.
mostly too.
They really are. They were top. They were probably, I worked at, out of the 10 schools I worked at, 7 of them were probably the top 30 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very, very blessed to work in some academic environments, be around some very good collective minds,
So Instagram, you
not
hear
just
that?
talent.
It's not always just about going to school just for the sport. Try to
No,
find a school where you have small classes and you can get your academics, get your mind right, because not always track and field is not always going to be there. So
100% correct. Yeah, that's one of our philosophies. We say, you look at where Tiffin is, with Nelson in between Toledo and Columbus. So we're
yeah,
kind of really in a little bit of the country. But the thing is, I tell people now is, and especially in today's times with all the different distractions of the big cities. Not saying I don't like big cities. Shout out to the big city people, but this is 4 or 5 years that you need to spend to isolate yourself, that you can concentrate on yourself,
yeah,
because you're going to spend the next 4 or 5 years not only doing a sport that you love, but you're also are going to meet people, establish relationships, network with people,
hmm,
and you're going to study a subject matter that you're going to pretty much use the rest of your life. So
yeah,
why not take that 4 to 5 years off? You can take those trips later on. You can
hmm.
have that paper. You can get that Louis Vuitton or those Jimmy Choos, or you can get,
Love the
you
song.
know, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you can get those things, but go ahead and invest in yourself. It's the very first time that student athletes can invest in themselves. And that's
Yes.
why I've also really loved the Division II philosophy, where we care about the person. It matters in Division II, is what they say, right? And
Hmm.
it does. You matter. You're not just a student athlete, you're a human being. So we approach that from a family-like atmosphere here at Tiffin University. It's a very big family. It's a very diverse team. We have a team that's as large as most Division 1A, BCS bowl football teams. We have about 165 people on the roster.
Yeah. Got a big coaching staff too, guys, because sometimes it's just not enough. One coach cannot do it all.
No,
There are
no, it
19
isn't.
events, and sometimes it's a balance when you have enough people to help you, especially with a group. I think you said there's like 69 people and coming, right? Oh,
We
or
have
is
we
it
so
90?
so right now,
90 athletes or something,
right now,
something like that.
right now we have 165 people on the roster. Probably we're gonna
Okay.
probably have right now we have a right now we have an incoming class, as of right now, maybe
Yeah.
we're up there,
It's
and
some
I,
more
and I, and I
because
say
a lot of
that
programs shutting
as
down. They're fine. These kids are
we
finding
are.
other locations.
Shout out is, go on my Instagram, track and field underscore Coach Moss, or go through support underscore track
Hmm.
underscore field. We are still recruiting. We're a firm believer of that we want to give you an opportunity. We can scholarship anybody.
Yeah.
So even if you're like that 6 foot long jumper, or if you're that 20-point 200-meter runner, we
Hmm.
can scholarship you. Everybody's different. People always want to talk about, I do want to send a shout out to one of my frat brothers, a head coach, Lamont Johnson, that had a post up that
Hmm.
talked about, people, please understand, track and field is not like basketball, football, volleyball, softball, or baseball. We're not head count sports. We don't bring in revenue as much, but yet we still are able to give scholarships. So everybody don't have a full scholarship. I will answer the $1 million question right now, because I know Mr. Nett's gonna ask this question. What does it take to get a full scholarship? You can hear it right here, right now, today. You have to be a national champion caliber person.
Yeah.
If you can
Yeah.
be number one in the country, then you can go ahead. The old saying goes, if you want a shot at the title, you gotta step up and get the belt.
Got to put in
So
the
if you
work.
got the talent, you gotta put in the work. And the thing about it is this: I'm a firm believer of, and a wise man told me this. Wise man told me this. Mike Holman down at Man University. Okay, he told me, he said, you need to be able to feel like you're investing in yourself. You work differently when you're investing in yourself. You don't just
Hmm.
need to go into something brand new. Everybody wants something brand new. But
Yeah.
if you're investing in yourself, you're going to learn along the way. It's going to make you a much stronger person on the end. Shout
Hmm.
out to Mike Holman, Man University, emerging elite coaches.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. So, guys, you heard that. I mean, with track and field, everyone's welcome. But at the same time, if you do not have your academics, well, you still have to have your academics. You will not. It's not about a full scholarship all the time, because if you have your academics, that's how you're going to get in school anyways. So it's not about the GPA, and it's not about for Tiffin, right? It's not also all about that. Is there
No, it
a
isn't.
mark or
No, and we
anything?
actually help out rehab people. We actually rehab people. So if you come in with a little low GPA, if you can get into school, we actually what you call at risk or cause of things. So what we do is we actually invest in you. You take your study table hours, which is used to
Yeah.
be study hall for us, but now it's study tables.
Uh-huh.
And so we put a plan in place. You put a plan in place. So what ours is, you start off with 4 hours of study table hours, and
Yeah.
that's by semester. So if you make a certain GPA, you don't have study table hours. I'm still
Yeah.
getting used to those words.
Yeah.
And then, but if you're in your junior year, in the spring semester of your junior year, and you have a bad GPA, we put you back in the study table so that you can
Yeah.
nurse that GPA back up. So that once
Yeah.
again, you understand that everybody makes a mistake, or somebody has something that happens to them that may be,
Mm-hmm.
tragic or something like that, traumatic or something like that. So we want to help you understand failure is not a bad thing. We want to put a lot of
No, it
negative
isn't.
connotations on failures, but failure just means, hey, something you didn't do or something you didn't know about allowed for this failure to happen. So let's give that to you now. Let's take some time to talk about it. Let's put a plan in place. One, we're teaching you how to win. If all you see
Yeah.
is failure upon failure, and there's a ton of athletes, especially sometimes in these track and field environments, or they get this full scholarship and they're not thinking about how they're going to get more money to help pay for school,
Yeah.
and they drop below 2.0, they're left out there in the cold. So we, in the Division two standpoint, we have certain requirements that allow them to maybe be able to transfer in or be able to come in, and that way we're able to nurse them and give them another chance at being successful in life.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, I mean, and I always say, make sure you want to be in school, because if you have people behind you that wants to support you and see you succeed, guys, like Tipton, you make sure you want to be in school. Don't take the opportunity from someone else. So make sure you want to be there. Make sure you want the opportunity. Don't take failure. Failure is a chance to be great. Everyone fails. No one succeeds on the
I'm
first
writing that
try.
down.
Hmm?
I'm
Oh,
writing
I
that
just made
down.
it up.
Understand right now, look at your clock. Poor man's copyright. That was yours.
Oh, well, remind me what I just said, because I don't even
I will.
send it to me. Send it to me. But I mean, I
Exactly.
failed in so many different things, and I feel like I'm failing. But then I get other people saying, "Girl, you're doing a great job," and I'm like, "But I feel horrible." So think about it. You're really beating up yourself. Don't beat yourself up so much, because other people think sometimes other people think you're great. Just keep on trying, trying, trying to be the best, and just keep your head up. And other people, if you think you're the best, other people will also think you're the best.
Exactly. Yeah, a setback, which is just like a failure, is nothing but a setup. It's a staging area. You're
Yes.
just staging yourself to move into greatness.
Yes, yes. So how can we get to Tiffin? How do we you already told me how to reach you. Can you say that again?
Sure. So you can reach me via my Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
track and field underscore Coach Moss,
Mm-hmm.
or my email is moss, MOSSE, at tiffin.edu, or you can come on down to Miami Street,
Mm-hmm.
155 Miami Street is where our offices are.
Okay.
And so you can come in and see our beautiful facility. We have a beautiful 200-meter Mondo track that stands alone from everybody else.
Yeah.
Football has their own 65-yard turf field in this great building we're in right now. We're in a $15 million complex that has its own concession stand, ATM, snack machine, Powerade machine, locker rooms for each team.
Yeah.
It's a really great facility. We're really blessed.
Okay, so another thing, so how are you guys coping down there? Because I know we're having a lot of riots, not riots, protesting right now. And how how are you dealing? Are you talking to the kids that are out? Because first we have COVID, now we have the protesting.
Sure.
How are the kids coping? How are they feeling?
I
Especially the
think
ones
it's a
speaking
great
out
question.
here.
Sure, I think it's a great question because I talk to some athletes. I have athletes on the West Coast. I have
Yeah.
athletes that are in the Southwest, which is Texas, and the Southeast and the Northeast, and we have some internationals. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've talked to all of them, and they really didn't bring it up. I think part of it is because um, COVID-19 is new.
Mm-hmm.
Social injustice is not new.
Mm-hmm.
Systematic disadvantages is the way I like to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Is not new because it's not just 3 names. It's not just 55 names. It's just not 18 names.
Yeah.
This has been a problem before even America started. It's really the strong versus the weak. It's
Yeah.
the educated versus the not educated. You know what I'm saying? It's the tall versus the short. It's the dark versus the light skin, right? There's always a debate. So we love debates, but we don't know how to educate ourselves and know the rules of these debates. And then we're focusing on anger or instead of love. You know, the way you fight hate is you fight love. So with COVID-19, our president President Schumacher did a great job. You know, our athletic director, Lonnie Allen, did a tremendous job. Our director of track and field, Jeremy Croy, our associate head coach, Ray, did a great job in terms of just talking to each and every single one of their individuals and their athletes. We put out a statement as a program. It is on my Instagram page, to where we all signed it, and we had a 3-hour discussion about it. So it was something that we didn't just carbon copy. We all talked about it. We wrote some stuff down. We brainstormed on it. We got to be heard. We have 4 minority coaches on our coaching staff, right? And then we have a female GA. You know, we have 10 coaches. You know, we have 6 full-time. We have 10 total people that kind of work in with the student athletes. And so, you know, there's things in place. There's been ongoing discussions on campus. We already have a thing on campus anyway to talk about the inclusion and diversity. So it was something that we already had in place before this happened, so that we have something like that to help when something like this happens. So I think it's one of those things that the same way I address with race in the workplace, the way that you deal with the social injustice in there is you change the narrative. How do you change the narrative? Stop talking about it, do some actions, go and have good, uncomfortable discussions, let them be heard.
Yes.
Give them the due respect to let them be heard, and then you try and have an understanding. You may not always have an agreement, but at least give them understanding. And I think that's where we're really coming from. We don't really understand the things. We don't understand the generation that's about to come into school this fall, right? Oh. And we're not going to understand the generation that's going into kindergarten in the fall. Yeah. So we just have to take our time and just be respectful enough to just really show them understanding, give them a listening ear when they want to be heard, and help them understand how to present themselves as well. That's the next thing as well. From a minority standpoint, as a minority coach, you know, we have lines on our face, so we show a lot of emotion on our face. We move our hands a lot. We get very passionate and very emotional. So I had to learn this, you know, like when I do all these different movements, I don't understand the message that I'm giving somebody. Yeah. But I was taught in communications, when you speak actually with your hands, so you're not just standing there like this, right? Yes, yes. So we have to make sure that either you preempt what you're about to say and or do, so that they're understanding why you're doing it a little bit better, right? Because you never sometimes can guarantee yourself to have a chance to explain your intent as well as explain what you were meaning. Yeah. And that's what I think that people say, well, let me explain. No, let me do it again. No, let me do it again. No, you may not have the opportunity. Tomorrow may never come. So we got a lot of good things in place here. We're very fortunate in the Seneca County, which is where Tiffin is, where we only had 15 cases. We only had 15 cases, which is astounding, right? Because an hour up the way, it may be 20 times more, and an hour down south, 20 times more. But we're in a very good place right now. We're really excited. We did just kind of open up this week, full time, and we're gonna open up the dorms up in I think maybe toward the end of June and stuff like that. So we are able to do workouts and everything like that. We are practicing social distancing, by the way. Shout out to the social distance people. We are sanitizing. We are having no more than 9 people in front of a coach. We're not doing bigger gatherings than 10. We're keeping the 6 feet apart. You know, we're sanitizing. We're wearing our masks. I just don't have my mask on right now because I'm the only one in the building right now. You know, it's a really good environment. I mean, I being involved in the sport for 21 years, being on different campuses, seeing the response.
School that's open so far.
Might be. We talked about that today.
Huh?
I know some workouts are probably starting around June 8th. I talked to a few people in the industry, but in terms of like with football and stuff like that. But yeah, we're one of the rare ones. But part of it is, like I said, our Governor Devine in Ohio. I know it seems like we're doing a lot of name dropping, but that's just because I watch it. So our Governor Devine is doing a great job, put a great plan in place. He listened to the people. You know, we opened up the state of Ohio probably about 2 weeks ago. So we want to see how that surge is going to happen. We absorbed the surge, and even within our center, a great recruiting tool is we have 15 cases in Seneca County. So if you want to send your kids to a place where they're going to be safe, not just go to the water, but if you want to send your kids to a place where they're going to be isolated and safe in these perilous times, this is a great opportunity.
And by the time they graduate, they're going to be educated.
Correct. It really will be. Really will be. We look at ourselves as a Division II school that does a lot of things on the Division I level athletically. That's why our facilities are bar none some of the best I've been a part of. our faculty and staff or a very, our class size probably is 13-1. When you get into your major area, you may be looking at 9-1, 6-1, and people are like, well, that's too small. I said, well, let me tell you this.
I
If you're
hate that
studying to
small
be
class.
nursing, right, if you want to study to be a nurse, if you want to study to be a doctor, would you want to be number 253 or would you like to be number 10?
Mm. Yeah.
Now you're able to get, now because when you walk in your professor's office, okay, athletes, go talk to your professors, go talk to your teachers, go talk to your instructors. But what ends up happening is they only know you as a number. Here they know you as a person.
Yeah, because it's small
There's a difference in
classes.
that. There's a difference, and it really
Wait,
shows. I
wait.
mean, we
So
have
so
some great
that means
things.
I can't cheat. That means I can't cheat and look at my friend's paper. That's only 9 people in the.
All I can say is, right now in this virtual environment, it's a new world. And so,
Wait.
but
I
you
just
do have the
thought about that.
opportunity.
We're 6 feet apart too. Golly, I can't even see
Yeah.
the test paper.
Nope. Nah, you better have some stigmatism or something. You better be farsighted. But you know, but but you know, things have changed. Things are moving more virtual. Things are moving more project based. Those are some of the new trends in the educational system. I also do teach classes. I'm hoping to look to teach classes here at Tiffin. It's just another good way just to show diversity as coaches. Coaches just don't write workouts. We don't
Yes,
just
you're
make
right.
recruiting calls.
Yeah,
We got brains.
advancing
We got
education.
brains. Yeah, we have brains. And so those people that want to learn the sciences behind it, I'm like, okay, I can tell you the science behind it, but I'd rather just show you. But if you want to learn the science, no problem. But it is truly a great environment. Truly a great environment.
It sounds like it. So KJ Dope, I think one of your past athletes, he says if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's right. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I knew he would say it. I knew he
He's
would say
joking.
it.
He's joking.
He he actually was a great athlete of mine. We had a great story. He was I have a philosophy now. It used to be you can call me anytime up to this point if you're in trouble or whatever. I said if you go to jail, I said I can't bail you out of jail, but I'll come and pray with you, right, or sit
Come
with
play
you and
with
be
you.
supportive of you.
Yeah.
But now I have zero curfew on my phone. I want them to be I want to be that accessible. I want them to help them to understand. I want you to be comfortable in these perilous times. They need to be heard. They need to be understood. You can call me up. I say I may not pick up the phone, but at least know that opportunity is there. If I do pick up the phone, then you get me. If not, I'll reach you as soon as I get a chance to. But I think it's come out with great dividends. I think it's helped out with recruiting. I think it's helped out with the relationships that we have. I think over time, it's just when we're in a meet and it's raining or it's snowing or we're inside and I want you to respond because of the relationships on a one-to-one basis. I know you as a person, you understand me as a person, as a coach. I'm not your father or your mother, but I'm like your uncle. I'm not your friend, I'm your mentor. When I say
Yeah.
go in there and get it, you're gonna go and get it. And like I say, when we hit big marks here, we say boom. That's like 1/100th of what we say. And so
Yeah.
and jump you is what we are. And so we come out there and we have some really emotional marks. We can actually reproduce it. It's not just because of anger or
Yeah.
anything like that or adrenaline only, but we do some things that we're not able to
Consistency.
do in some other environments. Yeah, we have some good stuff going on. So if you want to come and learn how to jump real well from a technical standpoint, if you want to get better sprinting, if you want to get better throwing, better vaulting, better distance runners, come and holler at us. We're great coaches. I think I'm the second oldest on staff at 42, going to be 43, Lord willing, in August.
Hmm.
Our director of track and field, he's I think he's like 44. And then we have coaches that are in the
You
30s,
guys
and
are,
one
you
coach is
guys
kind of in
are
the
ready
upper
to go.
20s.
Yeah.
Oh, we ready? Hey, we fired up, ready to go every single day. I miss my family right now, so it's I think it's tougher on the coaches than it is on the kids. I think,
Yeah, because you're
but
sitting around, you're like, what to do now? What to do now? When you're usually around a big group and leading
we
things.
are,
Yeah.
but with technology now, I always say you can't do less with more. So we have more resources at our disposal. So we don't abuse that. We can't call them and check up on them from a workout standpoint per NCAA rules,
Hmm.
but we can we can talk to them how they are as a person. And
Yeah.
that's really what I do is I call them in. I just talked to one of my athletes before I came in onto this call
Hmm.
that I wanted to see how they were doing as a person. And I think
Yeah.
that really every now and again that shows them like, oh, he actually thought about me. Because I could be doing anything else
Yeah.
in the summertime. I could be out fishing. I could be out taking a
Yeah.
trip if I'm
Yeah.
allowed to. But just showing them once again that I am genuine with what I say. It's not just from a recruiting standpoint.
All right. So we are fit. So guys, we're gonna go straight to Facebook Live now. So hopefully you guys can join us over there and just let you know. Also, please check us out at Support Track Fit what is it? Support track and field, and grab your mask.
Yeah.
We have our little mask. It's our fundraiser items because we're trying to have programs for the youths, for the middle school and elementary kids, so they can get started early, so they can know that people care about them, so they can have. So when you guys get them as college students and as even high school students, they're a little bit more balanced. They're a little bit more calm. They know that someone cares about them, and they have that early childhood education part of track and field or whatever sport, or just being able to carry themselves and present themselves. If you're out there with protesting, please be careful. Wear your mask. Um, get home early. Make sure the curfew is what for us is 9 o'clock. If it's 7 o'clock for you, please be careful. Get home safely. And try not to be a follower. Be an example.
Correct. Protesting does not mean rioting.
Yes,
So
it's not
understand
that.
that protesting does not mean rioting. Protesting means you practice your First Amendment right, freedom of speech, but make sure it doesn't polarize anybody, but also speak your mind and be very respectful. That's really what protesting is.
Yes.
And get home before the street light comes on. I'm old school. Get your butt home before the street light come on. And to all those imposters out there that ain't protesting, that's trying to grab Air Force Ones or the Jimmy Choos or the Vera Bradleys to make a profit on yourself, you're wrong.
Yes, and do not be a follower. Do not let anyone come up to you and say, hey, let's do this, especially if you know it's wrong. People are getting caught. All those videos, they're going down. As soon as they see your face, you're going down. So be careful out there, okay? All right. So, Coach, guys, follow us over to Facebook Live. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Coach. Bye.
Thank you.